Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson. Welcome to Tea Time. This is unedited and unscripted. Today we're going to talk about letting in the feminine. It's probably one of those things that we all want more of. Doesn't it feel great when you have that experience of feeling more feminine, being that feminine being, and being able to express that in a way that's validating and really helps you perceive yourself in the way that you know you innately are? Like, isn't that wonderful? I love that feeling. But it's not a feeling that I get all the time. Do you get it all the time? It's sort of like a fleeting thing, like gender euphoria, you know? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I've learned of letting in the feminine and embodying it. Now, I do want to say that I wouldn't expect the feminine to always be there constantly reminding you that you're feminine. Because, what is feminine when you're on your own and there's no one around you and that's just all there is? I'm not sure. I think there is an innate feminine expression and a way of experiencing things. But if you're always judging what you're doing, is it feminine or masculine, you're kind of missing the point. And that in itself is a struggle that detaches you from the experience and living of your femininity. So I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit of this. And I think the phase that I'm in now in expressing and understanding my femininity is, well, let me take a step back. The first thing that any of y'all are going to have to do to work through your femininity is to give yourself permission to say, it's okay for me to act femininely. That's by far the most important one. And that's the first hump that it took me to even get through before I even realized I was a woman, because I knew I wasn't gay. But if I were to express myself femininely as a man, boom, you're gay. It's over. It's over. We're done here, right? No. And I don't know if any of you had that struggle as well, as being misread as a gay man. Those who were fine with being like, I can be read as a gay man, that's cool, whatever. No, not for me. I don't want to be like one of those comic book characters who are like flamboyant and gay. Like that's not who I am. And I feel like that's a superficial expression of femininity for myself. And so there was this weird kind of stasis that I was stuck in where I wasn't giving myself and allowing myself space to express myself femininely, because I knew that would also mean that I'd be read as gay, and I was certainly not into men, and I certainly knew that I was not gay. That's the big first thing that you're gonna have to move through if you're in the early stages. Now, chances are, if you're watching this, you have already admitted that you're trans and you're somewhere on your transition. I would guess maybe you're in the zone of 3 to 6 months in your transition. Am I right? Let me know where you are in your transition. I'd love to hear this. So this is where you may be, and now you're starting to engage and starting to take action on your femininity and seeing how it wants to express and experience. And you're getting these things that we call in the community as gender euphoria, that rush of, I can feel that. I can feel it. I put on some cute shoes. I put on a cute outfit. I wear my lingerie. I feel sexy. I say something. I express something. Someone genders me correctly. All of these things, they're just like, that feels so good. But eventually that kind of fades away, right? Has that faded away for you? The way that I put on a dress now doesn't mean anything to me, except that either I like it or I don't, and I feel like I look good in it or I don't. It doesn't make me feel more woman or less woman. I just put it on, and that's just how I wear things. What is the word for something when it's new and it's a rush? I'm forgetting the term. The novelty factor of transitioning wears off, and so with that novelty, the gender euphoria also wears off. I find that my gender euphoria still comes, but it's in very rare moments, and this is the thing that I want to share with those who are later in their transition, when you're in like a year or 2 years or even 3 years. This thing has been really helpful for me, learning how to express from within and not feel the requirement of any external force to trigger this euphoria and acceptance in myself. The struggle that we go through with ourselves is, am I a woman, or am I not a woman, or am I expressing it, or am I showing it, or am I seeing a woman in my external reality? This is a hump that gets kind of challenging, especially if you look in the mirror and you feel like what you see is what you've already had and it's not changing. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, well, I kind of see the same guy there, but people see a woman, so I'll just go with it. And I'm hoping that surgery for me will also help reset my own perception of myself. And so kind of like the way that you engage with how you see yourself is a big part to unlocking this deeper sense of coming from within your femininity. But now we're starting to deal with mechanics of what you allow within the space within you. Let me say that again in another way. There is a mechanism within your body that self-regulates your perception of who you are. And if you have identified as a male long enough, then that locking mechanism is inside you, and it reaffirms to you on some kind of level that this is what you are. And even if you have begun to acknowledge that you're a woman and that you've transitioned and you're still there, there's still a thing that is routinely there to hold you within a pattern of stability as a protection mechanism, to hold you within a pattern of stability that is familiar. And, I was identifying as male for 25 plus years, and that stability mechanism still exists within my reality. It exists in my reality when I wake up. It exists in my reality sometimes when I broaden my shoulders. There's just different ways that it expresses itself. And working with this mechanism is a way of unlocking that inner expansion of that one's femininity. And the only way to kind of just bridge this and to say it very plainly is you have to believe. You have to come from a place where you truly believe you are a woman and that you have your feminine being within you. And everyone's feminine being is different and it's expressed in different ways. There is this whole idea of gender as a social construct, but I wouldn't say femininity is necessarily a social construct. Yes, there are aspects of it that are a social construct and they interweave into our relationship with ourselves and how we perceive what femininity is. I will give it that. But there is an innate part within you that also knows what femininity is, and that is defined by you and you alone. And you know what that is, even if you don't consciously know. You know it. And it's called what I would call the feminine archetype. There's an archetype conditioned and deep within you that knows exactly what it is to be a feminine woman, to be feminine and express femininely. And this is the inner work in starting to learn how to pull that out. And the way to open that door is to believe that you're a woman, to give yourself that space to believe that you are who you are and you can express in this soft and gentle and beautiful way that you want to. And that you can shift completely this old self and this old pattern that you've lived within. Now, for me, when I make that shift, it's a little extreme in my stability of my reality, so much that I can feel destabilized in my experience and go, whoa, I feel like I just became a different person. And that's the practice. That's something that I'm working through now and starting to evolve and kind of unravel for this femininity program that I'm working on, which if you're interested in, I'm going to be teaching that in February once I get back from all my surgeries. And you can sign up to my email newsletter down below, link down below for me to announce that when it's ready. But for yourself now and for me, it's learning how to find comfort in this uncertainty of one's foundation of yourself. And I feel like this is a big part of any transition is you lose your foundation because you kind of say, this is no longer my foundation. But there's another part where it's like, you move into a completely different foundation. Like it's not like, oh, I'm slowly building this thing and it's who I am. Sometimes it can just be like, nope, we're just kind of move that aside and replace it completely with something else. And that can be a little bit jarring. Now, that old part that you've completely replaced, I feel like that part needs to come back, but it needs time to be processed and changed and transmogrified. Is that even the right term for this? To move that into who you are today. So those are just a few thoughts on femininity and bringing that in. I'd love to hear from you and what your thoughts are on how you express and build your femininity more. And I will be seeing you tomorrow. Goodbye, my loves. This is Ashley from Berlin saying tschüss. Bye.